What's up everybody, welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about Voronoi diagrams in Python and how you can create them for your own analysis. So I first came across these on Twitter. I thought they were really cool and I want to try and make them for myself. In soccer we're able to use them to kind of analyze pitch control as well as the spacing of players and see where the spaces are, where the gaps are, who's controlling which part of the pitch, etc. So we're going to be using the mplsoccer library to create these. If you haven't used the mplsoccer library before, it's awesome. I use it in a couple of my previous tutorials and I use it to do a lot of analysis. It makes it a lot easier to do everything. So normally we're going to need tracking data to do this, to be able to get the location of every single player on the pitch. But I've provided kind of my own tracking data, or AKA I looked at a YouTube video and I plotted each player. So you can download that in my GitHub. The file is in my GitHub, as well as the actual tutorial file is going to be in my GitHub as well. So you can check that out. But without further ado, let's jump into the tutorial. All right, so let's jump into the tutorial. We're going to jump into Jupyter Notebooks, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be plotting the plot that I created on Twitter. Well, I didn't create it on Twitter, I created it for Twitter. And this was this instance right here in the Barcelona-Cadiz match that happened a couple weeks ago. We're going to be plotting this scene right here. Obviously, if you have tracking data, this kind of stuff is probably a lot easier. But we don't have tracking data because we're all poor and we don't have access to tracking data. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be plotting. I already have the numbers for each location of the players. But what we're going to do, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to plot each player, and then we're going to convert that into a data frame, which we can then use to create the Voronoi diagrams. Voronoi diagrams. I don't actually know how to say, is it Voronoi or Voronoi? I don't know. So we'll create a list of X values for all the Barcelona players, all the Y values for Barcelona players, and then we will do that for Cadiz as well. So I'm obviously not going to sit and plot every single one, but I'll show you how I went through it and kind of how I got all the points and kind of made sure that all the points were at the right location. Because as you can tell, there's no like tick markers on the pitch, and there's no like way to say like, oh, Serginho Dest over here is at like 110.60 or something. I don't know what he's actually at, but there's no way to tell exactly where they're at, because we don't have that tracking data, so we kind of have to make it ourselves. If you do have tracking data, this is a lot easier. But what we're going to do is we're going to hop back over into the Jupyter Notebook, and we are going to just import the packages that we're going to use. So we'll use two packages or three packages that we use every single time. The first one is pandas, so we'll say import pandas as PD, and then numpy. So we'll say import numpy as NP. And these two packages allow us to manipulate the data that we're going to be using. And then as well, we'll import matplotlib, matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. So matplotlib allows us to plot the actual scatter points and kind of create the figure that we're going to be plotting on. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use mplsoccer. And mplsoccer, if you don't know what mplsoccer is, it's a great tool, and it's a great like API package that you can use to create soccer and different diagrams and visualizations around soccer, such as pass mounts. I've done a lot of tutorials with them, so if you've watched any of my tutorials before, you'll definitely know what this is. We're going to say from mplsoccer.pitch import pitch, and you need to make sure that you have installed mplsoccer. So if you're on Windows in your command line, if you're on Mac in your terminal, you just need to say pip install mplsoccer like that. So what we're going to do now is I will show you how we created how I got all the data points. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make essentially 6 lists that we're going to put into a data frame. So the first one we'll just call Barca_X. That'll be a list. Then we'll have Barca_Y, which will be a list. And then we'll have Barca, which essentially is going to be a list of the identifier that we need. So we need a team identifier. And the team identifier for this is just going to be 0. And the reason for this, we need to have a way of being able to tell the the code and the program essentially, which team's one team and which team's the other team. So, and then we'll do this for the opposition. We'll just say opposition underscore X equals a list, and then opposition underscore Y equals a list, and then we'll do opposition. And we'll make that into a list as well. So what we're doing here is we're now just going to start plugging in all of, essentially we're just going to come back up here and we're going to plot the points. So the easiest way to do this is by just creating a pitch that we can plot onto and then just plotting points and getting them to where they are, so then we can just take the X and Y. So I'll show you kind of how I've done this. So we need to use matplotlib. So we're going to say fig ax equals plt.subplots. So I'm going to go a little fast right here. So fig size equals, and in parentheses, we'll do 13 and 8.5. And then what we'll do here is we're going to plot using mplsoccer. We're going to create a pitch so that we can plot scatters on that to be able to locate the players and then put them into our lists, essentially. So we will just say pitch equals pitch, and then pitch underscore type equals, I use the stats bomb, so it'll be stats bomb. You can use any pitch, but we'll use stats bomb for this. And then we're going to say orientation equals horizontal, needs to be in a string, equals horizontal. So this is how you set up the pitch, essentially, if you were wondering what we're doing right now. And then we need to give it a color, so we'll say pitch underscore color equals, and then we can probably just do like black. And then on here, we need to set a line color as well, so not in strings, so line underscore color equals, and we'll do white. And then we will do constrained underscore layout equals false. And then what we're going to do is we are going to plug in view equals half. So this is kind of how we know like where to plot everything. And we'll say axis equals true. Make sure you spell it right. And then we'll say label equals true. Needs a capital T. And then tick, not Rick, tick equals true. So what this is going to do, it's going to plot the actual pitch. And then just right after that, we need to say pitch.draw. And then we need to say AX equals AX inside of there. So we do that, and it says pitch is not defined. Oh, it's because I did not capitalize that pitch right there. Anyways, so now that we have that figured out, now we can see we have a half of a pitch with the x-axis down here. So this is only half of it. So if we did view equals full, then we'd get the full pitch if you want to do that. But since we're only focusing on half of the pitch, we're just going to keep the half option. And then as you can tell, it goes from 0 to 80 down, and then 60 to 120 is this half of the field, or half of the pitch. So what we're going to do is what you would do, what I did is I plotted every single player. So I went and I looked at this picture. It's really time consuming, it's kind of annoying to do, but if you want to create these Voronoi diagrams, it's pretty cool to be able to create them. So this is just kind of the sacrifice you have to make. But what you do is you come down and you say, okay, we're going to look at Barcelona, Jordi Alba. He looks like obviously these aren't going to be completely exact, but we're going to look at Jordi Alba and we're going to say, okay, he is about, I'd say a couple yards, maybe 10 yards up, and then it looks like he's a little bit out. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back here and we're just going to say pitch.scatter. So we're going to use pitch.scatter for this just so that it's plotting on the pitch, because that's kind of how we have it set it up. But we'll say pitch.scatter, and we will say he was at about 93 and let's do 9. And then we need to set AX equal to AX right here. So as you can tell, it's plotted him right there. I mean, you can double check. You can go back Yeah, that looks about right. Obviously, it's not going to be 100% correct, but it looks about right. So you would then take this 93 and 9, and you would plug the 93 into the X and the 9 into the Y. And then you got to put a comma after it, and then you move on to the next player. So this looks like it's Griezmann. So Griezmann, it looks like he's in between, about halfway in between the half circle and the edge of the box. So we will do, he's probably about right here somewhere. So it looks like he's at about 100 on the x-axis, and then about, maybe he's a little bit further left because he wasn't right. Yeah, it was a little bit up. Let's do 96 and about, I don't know, 22 maybe. So yeah, let's do 96 and 22. So you just come here, go 96, and then you would do 22. And then you just do that for every single player. So I have all the numbers. If you don't want to do all of this, then I have a CSV you can download, and you can just upload the CSV, and it'll be the exact same thing because that CSV is the exact same numbers, just it's already done for you. But this is what you'll end up having to do. So it's pretty crucial to learn. Okay, so essentially what you need to do after that is you just need to go through all of this, just essentially adding all the different scatter points of the players to a list. So next I just go Pedro, I just go left and kind of circle around just so you can kind of know which point is which. So I have all the numbers already. I'll just fill it in. If you don't actually want to do this, you can just load up the data that I have provided in the description below. It's in my GitHub in that folder called Viz Templates. And you can just load that in. If you typed in, just in a single line, if you just typed in df equals pd dot underscore dot read underscore csv, it's called, I think it's called Voronoi.csv. Just make sure your Python file and your CSV are in the same, and it should run the same as what we're about to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in all the scatter points. I've gone ahead and just done them all before, so I'll do them real quick, and then you can pause and fill them in. Or at the end, if you want to practice and do it on your own, like if you're doing a different team or something, then you can do that. So I'll just hurry and do these real quick. Make sure as well that you are adding the actual commas in between the two. So these are scatter points that are only going to work on this stats bomb pitch. You'd have to convert these. So these are 100 by 120. You'd have to convert them if your pitch was 100 by 100, you'd have to convert them to 100 by 100. But we're going to be using the stats bomb pitch, like I said, and that's 120 by 80. And then the next, we do it for the opposition, so 99, 100, 102. And this is just all the points that I got when I did this the first time. And then the Y's were 14, 22, 33, 43, 46, 27, 21, and 45. Okay, so these are just the X, Y coordinates. So these ones line up, this 93 and 9 line up, that's the Jordi Alba, and then 96, 22, it was Griezmann, and then 99, 33, I don't want to rename the notebook, 99, 33 would have been, I think that's Pedri right there, and then the next one, I think that's Frankie de Jong. I can't, kind of bad quality, but you really don't need to know who's who unless you're actually wanting to know who's who. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to give the team labels. So essentially our data frame is going to have 3 columns. It's going to have an X column, a Y column, and it's going to have a team column, which is just the label of the team. So our Voronoi can differentiate between the 2 columns. Or between the 2 teams, sorry. So what we need to do is we need to create a list. So we're going to type the word list because we're actually going to create a NumPy array of zeros. So we're going to say mp.zeros inside of that list and then do parentheses. And essentially what this needs to do, this mp.zeros, is we need to make sure that we're creating enough zeros, as many zeros as we have x and y coordinates. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 coordinate pairs. So on the inside of the mp.zeros, we need to pass in another actual, some more parentheses. And then since we have 9, we will type 9, comma, and then on the outside of that, we hit comma, d type equals int. And so you just need to make sure that this matches this. So what it's going to do is just going to create a NumPy list of zeros, essentially 9 of them. And then we can copy that and we can put that down in the opposition. But we're actually going to want to change the zeros to ones. So it's going to make a list of ones. And then I believe we have 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we have 10. So we'll change the 9 to 10. And then the next thing is just putting these lists into an actual data frame. So we'll call our data frame df, and we'll set that equal to pd.dataframe. Make sure the D and the F are capitalized. And then parentheses, and then you want to hit the curly brackets right here. And then I just hit enter, so it puts it on a new line. And then in parentheses, we need to pass in our x, and then our colon, and then we're going to do Barca underscore x plus opposition underscore x, then a comma, then we'll do y, and then we'll do Barca underscore y plus opposition underscore y, comma, and then we'll do team, colon, Barca plus opposition. So what this is going to do is it's going to create a data frame with these lists, and it's going to create an X column, and it's going to combine the X and the Barcelona X and the opposition X. And it's going to combine the Barcelona Y and the opposition Y, and it's going to combine the Barcelona list with the opposition list. So we'll run that. And then I can show you what the actual data frame looks like. If we come down here below our pitch, we'll say df. So this is what our data frame looks like. Obviously we have the X and Y of everybody, and then the team labels. So our team label is 0 for Barcelona, 1 for Cadiz. And then the next part we need to do, this is something kind of specific with the mplsoccer way of doing this, is we need to create a points array, essentially. So what this is going to do is it's going to combine the X and the Y values together from the data frame columns and put them into an array that we can pass later into our Voronoi diagram. So I'll say points, and we'll set that equal to np, so numpy.column underscore stack, and then do 2 parentheses sets, then do df.x, comma df.y. So it should look like that. You should have np.columnstack, 2 parentheses, df.x, df.y on the inside of them. And after that, I mean, we can see what points looks like just so you kind of get what's going on. So it created an array, and then it created pairs of our x and y. So 93, 9 was our first x and y coordinate, 96, 22 was our second one, so on and so forth. So now we'll just create the actual pitch. So we'll say fig, ax equals plt.subplots. This is creating the actual pitch like we did before. And then fig size equals 13 and 8.5. And then we want to set face colors to make it look a little bit better. So we're going to say fig.set underscore face color. And we'll pass in a hex code that I have really liked and have been using. It's 38383B. And then we also need to pass in our ax.patch.set face color. So we'll say ax.patch.set underscore face color, and then pass in that same hex, so 38383B. And then as well, we need to get our pitch and create our pitch. So we'll just come back up to the pitch we created before, and we'll just copy from pitch.draw up to this pitch right here. So just these two right here. And we'll come down and just paste that below. And what I would recommend doing is getting rid of this axis equals true, label equals true, and tick equals true. So it's a little bit cleaner. And then after constrained layout, I would also put in something called tight_layout and set that equal to true. This is going to make it look a little bit tighter and a little bit cleaner. So we can run this, and I have an error because I did not put a comma. So this is kind of what it looks like right now. We actually want to change our pitch color back to the hex code that I was using, so 38383B. So now everything's the same color and it's looking good. I personally like to view this in vertical instead of horizontal. So you can go to orientation and pitch and change it to vertical. So now it looks like this. Looks a little bit better, I think, vertically than horizontally. Just my opinion. And now the next steps of what we're going to need to do is we need to create essentially 4 variables. Our first one's going to be our X column, our X values. Our second one's going to be our Y values. And then we need to create a team 1 and a team 2 variable. So what we'll do is we will just say X equals df.x, so our entire X variables. Then Y equals df.y. Then we're going to create 2 variables, team 1 and then comma team 2. And we're going to set these equal to pitch.voronoi. And then we'll do X, comma Y, comma df.team. So it knows which team that it should be doing. So team 1 is going to create it for the first team, and then team 2 is going to create it for the second team. And then to actually plot these, what we need to do is we just need to say T1 equals pitch.polygon. Then we'll say team 1, comma, and then we'll say AX equals AX. And we need to set a face color. So we'll do red for the first one. So team 1 I think is going to be, I think that'll be Barcelona. I'm not sure. It might be Cadiz. I don't remember. So red, and then we need to set an edge color. So EC equals white. And then we need to set our line width. So LW equals 3. And then to give us some transparency, we'll set an alpha. So say alpha equals 0.4. And then we just need to do this for our team 2 as well. So say T2 equals pitch.polygon team 2, comma AX equals AX. Kind of just the same thing, FC, but we want to do blue this time. Then we'll do EC equals white, just end it the same way, LW equals 3, and then alpha equals 0.4. So now that we have this, we can just run that, and there we go. So it looks like team 2 was plotted as Barcelona, team 1 was plotted as Cadiz. So Cadiz is the red, Barcelona is the blue. Anyways, guys, that's the basics of creating this. You can obviously plot the scatter points, and you can put a title. You can put a lot of different things to make this how you want. You can change the colors a little bit. I want to do this red and blue. But that's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, be sure to hit me up on Twitter. I can help you out and answer any questions, as well as be sure to subscribe and like this video. Really helps with the whole algorithm thing, and you know, we love algorithms here. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.